From the dance floor at Jackrabbit Slim's, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two guys who love to bring out the gimp, if you know what I mean, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
And how was your week? I went to a high school reunion.
And how was that, Wade?
It was exactly like the David Schwimmer film Dog Water that was retitled something that I can't remember right now.
Dog Water?
It was originally Dog Water, but it was like While You Were Away or While You Were Gone, some generic horrible title they changed it to. But actually, really good movie. If you haven't seen it, Liev Schreiber dances through most of the movie, does 80s dancing. Lara Flynn Boyle, very funny. It was just like that, exactly like that. Couldn't believe it. So bizarre. Anyway, yes.
I want to know what you think of something.
Tell me.
Communism. What do you think of it? Anyway, so here's the thing. Sony and Panasonic, right? Now, this won't happen until 2015.
I know,
Hopefully it'll happen sooner.
Yeah.
But in 2015, Sony and Panasonic
are merging.
Are hoping to release a new disc format which will hold at least 300 gigs. Because as you know, Blu-ray tops out. If you want to Blu-ray tops out at about 128 gigs. That's if you quadruple layer your disc.
Yeah.
But now Sony and Panasonic are developing a new Blu-ray optical disc format, Blu-ray, which is good, which will hold at least 300 gigs. Now, I hope they do it.
It'll play in current Blu-ray players or not?
Do not know yet.
Okay.
Do not know yet. But the good thing is that at least Sony and Panasonic, at least they see the value of packaged media.
Yes, but you know what that's all about, don't you?
It's all about...
That's not selling packaged media.
No.
That's about selling
TVs.
TVs. Yeah, that's about selling the ultra HD 4K televisions, which are not going to take off. Not even these companies have to, at a certain point, get acclimated to the idea that the ridiculous levels of growth that they got addicted to during certain tech periods are never coming back. You cannot endlessly keep pushing people to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to keep upgrading their home theaters into home roller coasters, into home spaceships. It's just there's a top to this.
Well,
there's an end to it. You can't keep doing this.
And here's the irony. The irony is that when the DVD market disappeared, the studios started replacing that money by depending more on international box office receipts, including infiltrating China. And the funny thing about the Chinese market, if you've been reading, is that China has not been paying.
Isn't that hysterical? They're not paying the studios. Well, no. Fox will not take the money because they don't want to pay the value-added tax. They're sort of protesting the tax and saying, fine, we're not going to take any money at all. And I'm sure the Chinese government is like, oh.
Well, but what is that?
How does that hurt them?
What does that have? How does that help anybody? Fox not taking the money.
I don't know.
Now everybody loses.
I don't know.
Fox loses.
Look,
Fox is releasing their films in China for free if they're not taking their money.
This is the lesson to be learned by doing business in China. Just the lesson is don't do business in China
because they're very mercurial.
You just don't do business. I mean, I'm sorry. You're not going to make those millions of dollars. You're not going to pay those millions of dollars. They change the rules on you every 10 minutes. Stop it. Mark, tell us about why we should be excited with Star Trek: The Next Generation on Blu-ray.
Star Trek, that's where we trek stars. We have here, Wade, they're starting to come out with these Next Generation DVDs faster than I thought they would. They're really kind of cranking them out. I like that, right?
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Do it.
Now we have Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 4. Now, Season 4, as you know, is a good season because it's where their uniforms had collars. If their uniforms have collars, it's a good season. If their uniform looks like a T-shirt, it's not a good season. I'm just saying. That's how I see it.
Not disagreeing.
Thank you very much. Now, this is Season 4 from 1991. This is one of my favorite seasons. They do get better as they go along, but I did like this one. I thought Data's Day was cute, where Data gets dancing lessons from the doctor. That was cute. I did like Night Terrors was not very good. I did like Cupid because it was Q, and we all like Q. And the Drumhead was also very good, which is a witch hunt for a Romulan spy aboard the ship. And there you go. Good stuff in Season 4. The special features include a new documentary and a conversation with the art department and a gag reel, deleted scenes. So Season 4 is pretty good. I do like Season 4. I think later seasons get better, but I feel that the show is really starting to take off now. and it looks good. The sound's been remastered 7.1, so that looks good. The high definition picture has been the effects have been recreated and sort of improved over what was on the TV show 23 years ago. So it's all good for Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 4. Now, if you don't want to spring for Next Generation Season 4, which, by the way, I believe you should, then you should check out Redemption. Now, Redemption was the Season 4 cliffhanger that was resolved in the first episode of Season 5, much like Paramount released The Best of Both Worlds 1 and 2 on DVD, so that you didn't have to wait to see Part 2 of Best of Both Worlds. We have Redemption. I don't think Redemption is as good as Best of Both Worlds, mostly because I'm not a big fan of Worf Klingon politics stories, and Redemption is all about Worf leaving the Enterprise to fight in like the Klingon Civil War, and there's a whole bunch of Trock Rock ceremonies and all this stuff about honor that I just can't stand. So I'm not a big fan of Redemption, although the disc looks great, nicely packaged. Commentary with Ronald Moore and Mike and Denise Okuda, who of course are the keepers of all things Star Trek. So if you don't want to spring for Season 4 totally, I guess you can go ahead and get Redemption, but I would just spring for Season 4.
You know what I would spring for?
Spring for...
hit the mic.
You're lame.
I would spring for the 5th and final season of The Dick Van Dyke Show on Blu-ray, because doggone it, this is one of the great all-time sitcoms ever. And I'm just always amazed at how you can sort of trace all the people involved in this show to other shows, and it just takes you into Happy Days and The Mary Tyler Moore Show and all these other sitcoms. It's just absolutely fantastic. Nearly 36 episodes of just great classic television comedy from this final season, the final 5th season of The Dick Van Dyke Show. And 2 of these episodes, by the way, written by Joss Whedon's granddad. Just want to point that out.
Steve Whedon?
No, John Whedon.
Really?
People don't realize Joss Whedon comes from like sitcom royalty. You know that, right?
Please explain.
John Whedon wrote for the Donna Reed Show. He wrote for the Dick Van Dyke Show, including 2 episodes in this season. His dad, Tom Whedon, was a writer for the Golden Girls.
And
so it's not like Joss Whedon really had a rough time breaking in.
But he did write and direct the 3rd highest grossing film of all time.
Yes, he did, which I don't think is all that well written or directed. But it's not bad. It's as good as it needs to be.
I liked Avengers. It's a good movie.
It's fine. But he's it's not like he's a Spielberg. I don't put him in like a class of great filmmakers or great writers.
No,
I just don't.
That I agree with.
Anyway, 5th season Dick Van Dyke Show includes the TV Academy tribute to Carl Reiner, featuring Gary Shandling, which of course has been on others, and audio commentaries with Carl Reiner and Dick Van Dyke, which are great. Audio commentary with Rose Marie, Larry Matthews, and Bill Idelson, which is terrific. And there's the Don Rickles remembering his 2-part episode, which is hysterical. Don Rickles, gosh damn it, why is he so funny? He's 1,000,000 years old. He just doesn't he's just funny as he's ever been.
I can't believe Rose Marie is still alive.
I know.
She's 89 years old.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love her. It just makes it feels like things are right in the world when Rose Marie and Don Rickles are still alive. It just does. Anyway, and this also includes a cast reunion from 1992's Comic Relief and a bunch of other stuff that is just loads and loads and loads of fun. Blu-ray is the only way to watch this show because you're watching it in better quality than these shows were ever mastered in at the time. I mean, people who watch this on television live, people who edited this stuff on 1-inch masters never saw it in this level of resolution. You're seeing this show as it was meant to be seen by the gods.
Wow.
There you go.
Jesus Christ himself.
That's right.
Has approved this transfer.
Damn it all. Yes, absolutely.
Wait, season 3 of...
I don't get it. I don't understand it. They're rednecks who have a duck call business and they're multimillionaires and people watch this on television. I don't understand.
Dynasty, season 3.
This is on A&E and I don't understand. There's nothing artful or entertaining about this. This should not be on an arts and entertainment network.
Have you... look, A&E stopped being artistic or entertaining a long time ago. Have you seen the posters, the outdoor ads for Duck Dynasty season 4?
No.
It says that the tagline, the cell line is "Release the Quacken." Yeah,
That's actually pretty good.
That's awesome.
That is pretty good.
Oh, Duck Dynasty Season 3. What can I say? It's about a bunch of redneck millionaires. And they run a duck company. What can you say? I mean, look, these guys are very, people find them very entertaining. There's some footage here that has never before been seen on TV. There's a couple webisodes in here, a couple music videos. These guys are very entertaining. They look like ZZ Top. They all have big beards. And look, it's Duck Dynasty. What can I tell you, Wade?
Yeah.
It's a family operation. People like that. It's the only thing is that sometimes this stuff gets a little bit too manufactured. Like in this season, I think it was a season finale actually. They go to Hawaii, and it's a little bit like if you really existed, you wouldn't go to Hawaii. So I don't know how real this reality show is. Oh look, they're surfing in Hawaii, just like they would really do. No, not even remotely. Or they start there's one episode where they do yoga, they exercise, like they're on mats. You're like, that's just set up by the producers.
Of course it was.
It's not a reality show. It's just like let's take some. There's a last week at TCA the Critics Tour.
Yeah.
They announced Reels Channel announced a new reality show called Hollywood Hillbillies, where they're going to take a bunch of people from Georgia, and they're going to plop them down in Hollywood.
I'm kind of amazed that Reels is still kicking.
I am. Well, they're obviously trying to do reality because they know the reality is cheap and it rates. So
Banshee, the complete first season. This is Blu-ray with digital copy. This is a Cinemax original series, and I don't quite know how I feel about this. It's a little bit like Twin Peaks ish. The idea here is that there's a guy he's an ex-con, and he inadvertently becomes sheriff in this small town of Banshee. And he's looking for a woman, and this mysterious disappearing woman from years ago. And I won't get into all the details. There's all this weird noir-y twists to all this stuff, and that they really, really mix it up, and they really, really tangle things up pretty well. Create a bunch of narrative knots that, of course, are what draw us back in constantly to watch these damn things. And it is very Twin Peaksy. It just seems to be aware of the fact that it's Twin Peaksy. But it's not super weird like Twin Peaks. It's just a little bit, eccentric like Twin Peaks. Decent action, very nicely done. I just think after this first season, it needs to sort of, start to show its hand a little bit and show us where it's going to go. A lot of bonus features, which will only be of interest to people who've actually seen the show. So otherwise, it's decently transferred. I don't think it's the best shot show in the world. They clearly HBO is saving their best stuff for HBO. The shows that they greenlight for Cinemax are very Cinemaxy. So
or as we used to call it, Skinemax.
Oh yeah, too soon.
It's hard to be a political show in the age of Aaron Sorkin, but boy, they tried over at USA with a show called Political Animals, which is actually not that bad. It's Sigourney Weaver basically plays Hillary Clinton. She plays a woman who was a former first lady, and she ran for president, and now she's Secretary of State. And it's the thing with this show, unlike Sorkin shows, is that this one is kind of fun. It's kind of half comic and half serious, so there is something going on that's a little different from a Sorkin thing. But ultimately, the show didn't really do well enough to rate continued existence. But I do like the cast. It's a good cast. It includes Kieran Hines, right, Wade?
Kieran
Hines?
Yeah.
Oh, it is Kieran Hines.
Yeah.
Dylan Baker, who I love. We all love Dylan Baker. And Ellen Burstyn's in it, too. So it's a good show, Political Animals. If you want like a smart political show that is not so far up its own butt like an Aaron Sorkin thing, check out Political Animals.
Like Newsroom?
And Newsroom is the same.
Yeah. Smash, Season 2. I got to tell you, I didn't think this thing would make it to Season 2. I thought this would just be so expensive and so self-indulgent and so wannabe Glee on a bigger stage that it wouldn't work. But it did, and there it is.
Well,
second
it's canceled
season.
now.
I know, but it got to a second season.
Barely. Mainly because NBC had nothing else to fill the schedule with, and also they don't want to piss off Spielberg by canceling his baby in one season.
Anyway.
Spielberg was a producer on this.
I know, and that was the only reason this thing, I guess, survived. But anyway, so here it is. It's second season, and I guess we're going to get a complete series thing pretty soon, right? For the holidays, the complete series Smash.
No, I don't think so. Do you really think so?
I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, NBC gave it the good old college try. I'm really great cast in here, though. I mean, Jack Davenport is terrific. I loved him on Coupling, the original British sitcom that was kind of a raunchier takeoff of Friends. He's really good here. Most people know him from Pirates of the Caribbean. Jennifer Hudson is terrific on here. A lot of great cameos and stuff. It's really good. The musical parts of it, but as far as the drama is concerned, not so much. It doesn't really matter. Very few bonus features. Not, whatever. It is what it is.
Wait, I have 2 words for you.
Yeah.
Gun and smoke.
1 word.
Oh. Gunsmoke, 9th season, volume 1 and 2. I'm not talking about this because I don't care. Moving on. Letting you know it's there.
I'm also letting people know that Top Gear USA, the complete season 3, is there. And you know what? Not nearly as entertaining as the British show. It just doesn't work. These guys are not entertaining hosts. I find nothing interesting. Even the cars don't interest me on the American show. Not in the least. So
I was on the website looking at the Tesla.
Oh, the 4-door, the sedan?
Yeah.
William has one, you know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does he like it?
He loves it. Yeah. It doesn't just have a GPS screen. It has like a 13-inch, fully functional, always connected internet computer with a touchscreen.
Yes, I went on went on YouTube and I looked at like this video review of the panel, like the cabin panel, and it's almost like 2 iPods, 2 iPads, strung together, and you can do everything on it.
Sweet. It's totally sweet. Yeah, no, he loves it. And he got rid of his Tesla Roadster to get that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he upgraded from one Tesla to the other. And I know. The people we know.
Yes, the people we know who have more money than we do.
I know.
Wait, real quick. Twilight Zone Season 4 is on DVD. Again. We just talked about this a couple weeks ago.
I know. They're just shooting them out. They're shooting them out nonstop.
Well, they might as well, because you know what? The entire series, like we said last time, is available on Blu-ray. You just get that.
Yeah.
But the
a lot of people still, they're still stuck with their DVDs, and the individual seasons on DVD have not been available for a little while. So these are all being reissued in nice new packaging and rather spanking.
Yeah, but the weird part is that season 4 is kind of not a great season for the show. I mean, there was some good Dennis Hopper's in it. Burgess Meredith, of course, who did a bunch of Twilight Zones, is in it. Burt Reynolds, Jack Klugman, Robert Duvall. I don't know that this is my favorite season, but if you're a completist, just buy the damn Blu-ray.
And Showtime's final season of The Borgias is out as well. I don't know that this really quite took off the way that they had hoped that it would. But it's still a pretty good show.
You know what? By the way, the transfer for the Borgias is gorgeous.
Borgias, gorgeous. Is it? You don't keep your day job. Don't go into hip hop. Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
No, it never really quite took off. By the way, I think they wanted it to. I think they wanted it to become kind of something somewhere between Downton Abbey and Game of Thrones. And it's certainly what it sort of aspires to be, but it's decently written. It's very well photographed, but clearly a little bit on the skeezy side. And it's kind of hard not to go there because you're dealing with the history's most notorious family of scumbags, the original inspiration for the Godfather. And, of course, they copped that by subtitling this The Original Crime Family, which, in fact, they were. But I think history in this case is a lot more interesting than what they led on with the show. The show is trying to be a TV show. History actually is much, much more brutal, and they can't even go into all those details on Showtime. That would even be too much for Showtime, believe it or not.
Ba-bam. Season 4, Community. This is the cult show on NBC that NBC is going to stick with this show like they stuck with 30 Rock, and they're going to just hope that eventually it takes off. Now, of course, part of that plan is that they fired the show's creator and showrunner, Dan Harmon, and replaced him, but I'm not sure that's going to really help. Although Season 4, I don't consider Season 4 any funnier than the previous seasons. That's just my opinion. I just think that the show has settled into a nice little cult show groove. It's got a great cast. Ken Jeong's in it. Oh, love Ken Jeong. Joel McHale is in it, and a bunch of people who will eventually go on to do, third bananas on decent indie comedies kind of a cast. Chevy Chase, of course, is in it, and I do love Chevy Chase, although he is a jerk. And he left strange emails on Dan Harmon's voicemail, and that's just weird. Anyway, Community Season 4. This is 13 episodes on 2 DVDs, not Blu-rays, so I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, there you go. It's Community Season 4. If you know it, you already love it.
Totally. And then we've got another Cinemax series, Strike Back, which is now this is the second season. This is Blu-ray with digital copy as well. Ultraviolet, by the way. This is definitely redeemable. Ultraviolet. I'm trying to kind of get a handle on what they're trying to do with these Cinemax shows. I did not see season 1 of Strike Back. The idea here, it just feels to me like they don't have writers who are smart enough to write anything like Homeland, so they're just going with this kind of buddy action thing. High production value, some decent writing, some very good directing, but the whole idea here is it's probably like two guns. It's a British special agent and like an American mercenary, and these two guys hook up and they fight bad guys, and they're it's all set in Africa and in these inclement environments, and we're supposed to kind of feel like the urgency of the modern geopolitical world and the pressures they're in. But I don't know, it feels basically to me like I Spy with dirt. No tennis. Replace the tennis with a lot of dirt and sweat. And that's what it kind of feels like. And semi-automatic, weaponry and whatnot. I don't know. This show also feels like it needs more time to breathe and mature. So we'll see.
Wade, in 1980. Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
I kind of want this. Will you give this to me?
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was in 1980, every 5 to 7 years, there is a late-night comedy sketch show that tries to dethrone Saturday Night Live, and it never happens, and SNL always survives. And in 1980, it was Fridays. And Fridays was on ABC, and it was a comedy sketch show, and it only lasted for a couple seasons, but it had some great talent that would eventually go on to great things like Larry David and Michael Richards. The rest of the cast is a bunch of nobodies, but we have the best of Fridays. This is 16 episodes of the comedy show. This not only has a bunch of Michael Richards and a bunch of Larry David, it also has some great musical performances from Devo, Tom Petty, The Cars, The Clash, Dire Straits, Pat Benatar, Kiss. I remember, I was so young then. I mean, how old was I when this thing came out? Also, the Andy Kaufman. There was a very controversial episode with Andy Kaufman, and that episode, which I will not explain to you because I want you to kind of rent this DVD. This episode is explained on the DVD in a special feature called "The Andy Kaufman Incident: What Really Happened." And Fridays, people either loved it or they hated it. It struggled for 2 seasons. I thought it was pretty funny. There was some funny stuff in it. I have friends who are older than I am. They can reel off dialogue from Fridays because it really was a cult hit, but it never really took off, and SNL always outdistances all these shows, whether it's Mad TV or Fridays or anything else, and it didn't really go anywhere. It just sort of died. So the best of Fridays, though, it is a cult comedy. Go to your parents and say, Ma, Dad, what was Fridays? And you will watch them stare out into space and remember their teen years.
Yes.
Watching Fridays.
It's a good show.
It is a good show.
It was a good show.
I want this. You give me this.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
Rock on,
you know why? Because you don't want it.
No, I don't want most. I'm inundated, man. I hang on to Criterions and a few special things. All right, Mark. Classic movies, of which we only have 4, or new movies, of which we have a bunch. Or do I give you a break to get me something to eat?
The only thing I have is the same thing you ate last week. I had never finished the olive oil cake.
Oh, then I'll have some more olive oil cake.
I'll give you some olive oil. You can drink
whatever.
No, do you want a piece of olive oil cake?
Let's do classic movies.
Do you want a piece of olive oil cake?
I would love a piece of olive oil cake.
I hope it's not stale.
It's okay.
I'll
have some more. I'll have some more.
That's fine. All
okay.
Right.
I didn't have more last week. I was going to.
That's true. You didn't.
Oh, load me up on water while you're at it.
Oh yes, sir. Anything else?
Yeah.
Beef bourguignon.
Yeah, please, please. Yeah, let's do that. All right, real quickly. Then while you're doing that, I'll roll through a few of the Kid Vid stuff that we didn't get to last week. Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, combo set, full-length movie premiere of My Little Pony Equestria Girls. If you are not a fan of My Little Pony, this will not win you over. If you are, you will be impressed as hell by the quality of the Blu-ray. It will dazzle you. It will amaze you. It will enthrall you. and it is still My Little Pony. But yeah, it's for little girls, and I'm assuming my little girl probably will not want to see this because I'm going to expose her to kung fu movies as soon as possible, so she will not have a taste for My Little Pony. But you know what? It's a nice big feature length. Kind of fantasy adventure that is probably quite a bit of fun. Very nicely animated, extremely well transferred to Blu-ray. Looks really, really good. Also, it's kind of interesting is the Justice League original movie, The Flashpoint Paradox, which is available in DVD and Blu-ray. If the artwork were anything like the incredible artwork that they have on the cover, it would be pretty amazing. As it is, it's just acceptable. An interesting kind of alternate reality, world coming to the end, and Aquaman fighting Wonder Woman, and all these kinds of strange alternate reality scenarios are pretty interesting. It's actually quite well written and has some really good voice casting, which also includes Dana Delaney, which is another reason why I'm fond of it, and an audio commentary that's not bad. I think in many respects it's probably better written than most of the DC movies. And then we've also got from the Nick Jr. Wow Wow Wubsy show, Best of Daisy, Daizy. Boy, this skews really, really, really young. This is 7 episodes, including one of which is a bonus episode, of this very strange, rudimentarily animated show, if rudimentarily is even a word. This skews super, super young, so I guess I'll probably be obligated to expose my daughter to it at some point. And then we have a couple of releases from Scholastic, from the Magic School Bus line. One is the Magic School Bus in a Pickle, and the other is the Magic School Bus Revving Up. I am a big fan of the Scholastic stuff. I really do find them to be particularly well animated and really well written and educational. I mean, it's a line that focuses on making sure that it's not just a lot of fluff and puff and buffoonery, but that they really do include. They're focused on really solidly educational material and learning and developing skills and socialization and all that. And these are both great. So highly, highly recommended on the Magic School Bus line. In a Pickle and Revving Up. The second one is really, really great. I mean, three separate discs in this one: the Magic School Bus Under Construction, Getting Energized, and Cracks a Yoke. Those are all part of the box set Revving Up. And Mark is now out of the room. Mark, where are you?
Right here, Wade.
Come rejoin the living.
I'm a coming.
Rejoin the living. We're gonna talk about.
You a piece of olive oil.
All right. Well, thank you for the cake. And while I eat the cake, you can tell us why you are a huge fan of Kevin Bacon on bicycles.
I like this movie. This is a movie. Kevin Bacon is sort of like ageless, right? I mean, I think Kevin Bacon's been around for Kevin Bacon's probably in his early 50s. I think he's been acting for 75 years.
Yeah. They're like 85. When did this come out?
Well, this is in 86. This is
86.
Quicksilver. Quicksilver, Kevin Bacon plays a bicycle messenger sort of dude. And there was a movie last year, maybe it was earlier this year, about a bicycle messenger directed by, I think, David Koepp. And what was the David Koepp bicycle movie? I'm trying to remember that movie. That was
the one with
it was very good.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. Actually, I think that film is better than this film. But anyway, so it's Kevin Bacon, and he joins his delivery firm that speeds around the streets of San Francisco trying to deliver packages. Of course, he gets caught up in a crazy thing, and it's all very dangerous. He's got a bike for his life. But the cast is very
Premium
80s.
Rush.
Premium Rush.
Yeah.
The cast is very 80s. It's Kevin Bacon, Jamie Gertz, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Rodriguez is in it. Louis Anderson is in it.
That cake is really good, dude.
Thank you very much.
You need to tell your mom and Phil,
I know.
What up?
Fla.
Yeah.
Blah. Anyway, Quicksilver, good stuff. It's on Blu-ray. It's an old film. It was kind of a low-budgety film, so it doesn't look all that great, to be honest with you. And there's no special features, so I don't really know who I would... I don't know who I would recommend this to, but it's not a bad film. Quicksilver, Kevin Bacon.
All right, Mark, my pick of the week. Classic movie pick of the week. Are you ready for this? I kept the secret from you.
Really?
I did.
Is this something I'm going to like and covet and want
I don't
for
know.
myself?
Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I love this movie. I was unapologetic when this movie came out. People ripped the crap out of this movie. It was so unfairly savaged. It was supposed to be on DVD or on Blu-ray several times already. It is finally out, Mark.
Yeah.
Ishtar has arrived.
Awesome.
I will unapologetically praise this movie. This movie was ripped only for one reason. Because it was $40 million.
It was over budget.
It was over budget.
But you know what? Elaine May was, I have to say, Elaine May, by all accounts, was a little over her head, and she didn't really get along with the cast. I think that Warren Beatty, I'm not really talking from total strength, but I don't know if Warren Beatty was ever really comfortable with her directing the movie. I don't know that he ever thought that he was up to the task.
Look, there are tons of situations like that. Shot by Vittorio Storaro, wonderful supporting performances from Isabella Gianni and Charles Grodin. I mean, the whole thing. Paul Silbert, one of the legendary production designers who did The Graduate and many other amazing movies, just classic comedy production designer. I mean, everybody involved in this, top notch. And Elaine May, very funny woman. I mean, let's draw a connection too, by the way, from The Graduate to this with Dustin Hoffman, because Mike Nichols, who directed The Graduate, and Elaine May, who wrote and directed Ishtar, used to be a comedy team, Nichols and May. You know that, right?
Of course.
Amazing stuff. I mean, if you go, I'm sure a lot of it's on YouTube. I've never even looked, but if you listen to some of the old Nichols and May routines, that is as classic comedy as you will ever get. So she comes from the same school, the same chops as Mike Nichols, and it's clear this is a really fun, funny movie. The songs that these two sing in this movie are a riot. Now, how's the transfer? Pretty good. Doesn't totally do justice to Storaro's photography. I don't think they put as much into the transfer as they probably could have, as they probably should have. But that being said, it's certainly adequate to give you the sparkle of high def. It's still a very funny movie.
Wade.
What?
I'm going to read you.
No extras, by the way. That's the sad thing. There's no extras, and this is the director's cut, which I wish I had the original release cut to compare it with, which I don't. But I don't see any substantial differences here.
Wait, I looked up.
Yes.
While you were blabbering on about nothing.
Yeah.
I looked up Roger Ebert's original review of Ishtar.
And what did he say?
A truly dreadful film, a lifeless, massive, lumbering exercise in failed comedy. Elaine May has mounted a multi-million-dollar expedition in search of a plot so thin that it hardly could support a 5-minute TV sketch. But I liked it.
I thought it was hysterical. I think it's outrageous, and I think they're both really funny. It's a great pairing, Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman. They're just a terrific team together. Now, I don't know what the changes are. By all accounts, all she did was trim out 2 minutes of material, which would make me sad because I like the original cut. So going from 107 to 105 minutes, I don't know that accomplishes a whole lot. But still, here it is. It's finally there, Ishtar, in a form, some form, any form. And it's a fun movie, even without extras. Go and at least rent it and just do yourself a favor. It's forget about how much it cost because it doesn't matter anymore. There are bigger budget disasters like every week these days, and people, nobody cares anymore. Things are so expensive now. $250 million, $300 million. It's
worth every penny.
This was $40 million at the time. Give me a break.
Well, most films of that ilk, like Heaven's Gate or Ishtar, they're really not as bad as their reputations would have you believe. It's just
no, they're not,
and certainly not Titanic. Titanic was remember when Titanic came out? It was for months and months and months. It was considered like it would be the biggest horrible disaster ever.
Yeah, no.
And when that first review came out, I think it was Newsweek. Newsweek, the very first review of Titanic came out, and it was a pan. And coming after months of bad publicity, we thought Titanic will be literally the biggest bomb.
Yep.
It'll eclipse Cleopatra by tenfold, and of course, it turned out to be Titanic.
We've got, and then wrapping out our classic movies are a couple of box sets. There's a theme here, Mark. One of them is an embarrassment to Asian Americans. The other one is a source of great pride. The embarrassment is the one we're going to talk about first, the yet another Charlie Chan collection, this one from Warner Brothers. There are just gobs of... There's so many Charlie Chan movies that were made, it's impossible to keep track of them all. This is like the fourth or fifth box set of Charlie Chan movies. And you get 4 movies here. One of them starring Sidney Toler, and the other 3 starring Roland Winters. Both of them Caucasian, and a straight-up embarrassment in this role. These are just bad mysteries on top of everything else.
You need to tell me.
Anyway, the movies: Shadows over Chinatown, Docks of New Orleans, Shanghai Chest, and The Golden Eye. And it's just these. They're like bad Hardy Boys mysteries, except with a fat white guy dressed up as a Chinese man. That's all these are.
Wait, what does Charlie Chan have in common with Gosford Park? Gosford Park and Charlie Chan.
Bob Balaban?
Yes! Bob Balaban. Look at Wade. Bam! Bob Balaban played a film producer who makes Charlie Chan movies.
Okay.
Gosford Park, the Oscar-winning Robert Altman film.
Anyway, no, here we go. MGM had a Charlie Chan collection. 20th Century Fox had 5 Charlie Chan collections, and Warner Brothers has had this is their second Charlie Chan collection. So, I mean, there are like dozens of these damn movies and over the decades, and they're all terrible. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out. Now, Mark, but Chinese Americans, Asian Americans can take a great deal of pride in what?
Bruce Lee, the Legacy Collection from the good folks at Shout Factory, who we always enjoy.
This is a whopping set, man.
This is a beautiful-looking box set. It includes...
it's a big box set. I mean, it's a big, giant, like, coffee table book type thing.
Yes, it includes 4 of Bruce's most important films.
Well, what it does not include is Enter the Dragon, because that's a Warner Brothers film.
That is true.
So, but it's got everything else.
The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and Game of Death.
Game of Death, finally, thank you.
Game of Death, thank you.
Fighting Kareem.
And the good thing is that the set includes interviews with Sammo Hung and Simon Yam and a bunch of these guys who worked with Bruce Lee, knew Bruce Lee, can really opine from strength about Bruce Lee. And it's great stuff. There's a lot of special features on this thing. It's also physical too. It's not just the disc. It's a beautiful book. There's a stills gallery on all 4 films. There's featurettes. It's just great. There's an outtakes montage from Game of Death. There's new interviews also here, and I really cannot recommend this highly enough. Big Boss, Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, Game of Death. This is from the Bruce Lee Legacy Collection, and it's great. Shout Factory, you got to check it out.
Babetchin.
Yep.
Babetchin. All right. New movies. Mark?
I like movies.
New movies.
I haven't noticed seeing a movie or 3.
Oh, I hit the
mic
mic
you
again.
really hit the mic that time.
I really smacked it. I'm tired, man. I got a baby. I'm getting very little sleep these
days.
I'm all tongue-tied. We got an interesting trio of Disney classics, which are sort of minor classics from an interesting in-between period here. These are all anniversary releases of animated films. The 25th anniversary edition Blu-ray DVD combo disc of Oliver and Company. The 40th anniversary edition of Robin Hood, Blu-ray and DVD and digital copy.
This is all before that late 80s, early 90s Renaissance.
Correct. And the 50th anniversary edition of The Sword and the Stone. And The Sword and the Stone is kind of like one of the last ones that Walt sort of had his hands in, but you can tell that the magic is starting to wane a little bit here. It's just doesn't. It feels like, Walt's maybe not well. He's not as involved as it used to be. It doesn't have the magic touch. It doesn't have that Cinderella thing, the Snow White thing, the Pinocchio thing. It doesn't have the Peter Pan thing, Bambi, Dumbo. It doesn't have that classic sheen to it. Robin Hood was, I believe, the first one after Walt died. I believe it was in development beforehand, but anyway. There's a lot of this stuff that is also in the extras here. The most interesting stuff in the extras, which I really enjoyed, is the digital restoration stuff, because they really put all these through the ringer. And the one that looks the best is Robin Hood. Actually, Robin Hood just is a beautiful, beautiful looking movie. It really, the colors pop, and the restoration just went to town on this. But the restoration for Sword in the Stone is quite good as well. Anyway, Oliver and Company is an interesting one because Oliver and Company was, I think Oliver and Company was this not the first attempt of the Eisner-Katzenberg regime to try to get things back on track? I think Oliver and Company was the first,
was.
and then they went to The Little Mermaid. I think Oliver and Company was the first one of those. Anyway, so all of this is kind of in between. This is between the classics of yesteryear and the classics of that begin with the Little Mermaid. So this is an interesting trio of films to release. They clearly did that on purpose, and a lot of good extras on here. And if you're a Disney completist, then by all means these have to be there. But these are not top tier Disney, just so you know. But really good Blu-ray transfers across the board.
First big new movie of the week is A Place Beyond the Pines. This film really split critics a lot. Also, it didn't make much of a dent in the box office, even though it stars.
I liked it a lot.
Bradley Cooper, Ryan Gosling. I liked it too.
I didn't like the Derek Cianfrance's previous film with Ryan Gosling,
Blue Valentine.
I didn't care for that. It was just like, okay, another one of these movies about a couple, they're just struggling and they hate each other and they love each other and they're angst-ridden. It was another one of those movies. But this I thought was pretty sharp. I really did. I mean, there's a little bit of a leap of logic that connects these two otherwise disconnected stories across time. You got the Bradley Cooper story and you got the Ryan Gosling story, and there's kind of a thing, and I won't get any other details, but it tries to be very, very epic and about fate and the tides of karma and all these sorts of things. But that said, even though there is a leap of faith there, I think this is quite a good movie. I love the ambition of it. Even if it doesn't fully pan out, the ambition is huge, and that means
true.
a lot.
And the good thing is that, and this probably it won't be a surprise for people who like Blue Valentine, unlike Wade, but Cianfrance, the director, he does not make a safe choice here. This is a beast of a movie, and it's a roller coaster ride, and it's not an easy film to sit through, and thematically, and in terms of scale, it's really an interesting film. I'm not saying it all works, but I really do appreciate the attempt, and I think that Bradley Cooper is really trying to shed that kind of pretty boy, lightweight image.
Yeah,
and
sure
he's doing a pretty good job of it.
And a really good commentary by Cianfrance. Really good commentary. He's an interesting filmmaker, so I'm looking forward to what he does again. Even though I didn't like the first film, the guy certainly has chops. He knows what to do with actors, and this impresses the hell out of me. So good commentary. Looking forward to his next film.
Wade, my favorite film of last year was Take Shelter, which was written and directed by Jeff Nichols. I absolutely loved that film. It was great. It was a contemporary film of our time. A resonant film.
And how is he keeping in? Is he up to snuff with Mud?
He is. Because
this film is like the independent hit of the year. This thing has made a ton of money.
It has. It's a terrific film. Also, it's definitely it's a lateral move more than it is a. Put it this way: if he had done Mud first and then Take Shelter, thematically Take Shelter is the bigger film, the bigger story.
Right.
If he had done Mud first, then Take Shelter, we'd be just praising this guy to the heavens. But having done Take Shelter first and then Mud, you feel it's more of a lateral move, but it's still terrific. I mean, it has a classic feel to it.
Cool.
It's about these two young kids who encounter this fugitive played by Matthew McConaughey, who's undergoing this bizarre career renaissance. And they decide that they're going to help him. They're going to help this fugitive evade bounty hunters. And it's very kind of like Huckleberry Finish in the way these two kids kind of travel.
I was hoping you'd say Huckleberry Hound.
I was so right there.
I
was
know.
like, as I was saying that, I was saying to myself, please don't say Hound, please don't say Hound, please don't say Hound. And normally I would say Hound just because I'm just that guy. But no,
my darling.
So I very, very highly recommend Take Shelter, and I also highly recommend Mud. I just think that Jeff Nichols is an interesting voice in American independent film, and I think he's got a great classical style, and I just think this guy is so talented, and I really hope he delays his selling out as long as he can.
Well, this is one that I missed, so I got to go home and watch it now, because I obviously have to watch this for award season, don't I?
You know what? Award season?
Is Mud going to be in the running? Are people going to be nominating this for things? Matthew McConaughey?
McConaughey, maybe. Yeah.
All right. You know what? I thoroughly enjoyed The Sapphires. This one I did catch. Blu-ray, DVD combo pack here, and what a fun movie this is. This is one of those little movies that the Weinstein Company just picks up, and they sell the hell out of it, and it is just so much fun. Good friend Claudia says The Sapphires shines brightly. She's quoted in the back. Beautiful. This is actually based on the true story in 1968 of an Aboriginal singing group from Australia that went to sing for the U.S. troops in Vietnam. And it's just wonderful. I mean, yes, it's basically, like The Commitments with Aboriginal girls. And Chris O'Dowd, who was just so freaking funny in Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids, yeah.
He's just great. He is going to be a real hit in comedy movies. He's just great in everything he does. He's their manager. It's a wonderful movie. It'll have you tapping your toes and dancing and singing out loud. It's one of those great old-fashioned just crowd pleasers. And thank God the Weinsteins went and picked it up. Otherwise, it would have just been a little small, minor Australian gem. And it's got that Muriel's Wedding feel to it. It's maybe 80% Muriel's Wedding, and that's enough for me. Beautiful Blu-ray.
Oh, Wade.
Absolutely.
The end. Philly Brown is a movie that I don't know that I can totally recommend. It's about a hip-hop artist, hip-hop rhyming person.
Hip-hop rhyming person?
I don't know what hip-hop people do. Anyway, she's in L.A., and this record producer offers her a shot at the big time, and of course it comes with, it's very Faustian. It's a Faustian deal with the devil. Yes, Gina Rodriguez is in it, Lou Diamond Phillips is in it, Edward James Olmos is in it, and I don't know what to say about this movie. It's okay. It's okay. What I like about it is that it's pretty heartfelt considering the subject matter, and it's pretty humanistic. I kind of like that. It's a little melodramatic, but it's if you like that kind of thing, I guess it's not bad.
Love and Honor stars Thor's younger brother, Liam Hemsworth, otherwise known as the guy from the Hunger Games. Not the guy who's in the Hunger Games, but like the guy she leaves behind, right? I guess he's got a role in the next movie, which looks equally as terrible as the first one. Anyway, here's the deal. Liam Hemsworth stars in this movie about a couple of guys who go to Vietnam, and then they go AWOL, so one of them can try to track down the girlfriend who dumped him. They've got to leave. They got a 1-week leave, and then they overstay their leave, basically, so he can try to get his girlfriend back. Anyway, and, of course, there's another girl, yada, yada, yada. And all of this against the backdrop of, oh, my gosh, what are we doing? Should we really be fighting this war? It's kind of tedious because all of these themes about, is the war right and so forth, it just kind of recycles all of these anti-war Vietnam cliches, which we've seen so many times, and I don't know that wrapping them into a schmaltzy... who's the guy that writes all the really lame romances? What's that guy's name? All the...
Books
Sparks. That Nicholas Sparks. Yeah, wrapping it into kind of a Nicholas Sparks story doesn't make it more compelling. It just makes it kind of silly. But what I do enjoy about this is Liam Hemsworth is the real deal. That whole Hemsworth family, they're all talented guys. And take him out of this. Take him out of the Hunger Games. Put him into something real. And please, is he broken up with that Hannah Montana girl? Is that over?
That's a weird relationship.
Is that over? Because she just deeply disturbs me.
Like they're never seen together. They still...
I don't know. His family had an intervention, and he broke up with her, and then they got back together again or some damn thing. I got to stop reading Us magazine.
Hey, imagine working for E!
Oh, gosh.
Black Rock is a film that is...
should not have been made. No, Kate Bosworth is...
Well, it has weird pedigree. It was co-written, directed, and starring Katie Aselton. Now, Katie Aselton, I hope I'm getting her name right. She is married to Mark Duplass, who co-wrote the script. Mark Duplass
seriously?
Is one of the Mumblecore guys. Now, I like the Mumblecore films. Wade doesn't like them. I like them. They're the types of films that I really want to hate them, but then I watch them and I kind of like them. And so it definitely has that kind of very down-home, gritty, independent feel to it. It's basically Deliverance for women, where three women, Kate Bosworth, Katie and Lake Bell, they go to this little island where they used to hang out as a kid, and the island, of course, is, not empty. There's these three guys, and a misunderstanding ensues, and they wind up being hunted on the island. So it's definitely got a lot of decent action and drama as they sort of get into their relationships and how they were as kids. So it probably could have been a little bit more. Deliverance, of course, is the ultimate version of that kind of a film. So there's definitely some good stuff here, although I think ultimately there's a reason why this didn't get much of a theatrical release, if it got any at all. But anyway, Black Rock. It is a female deliverance.
All right. Female Deliverance. Yes. I guess that's a recommendation.
Is it? Is it though, Wade?
By the way, speaking of, there was a documentary we covered on radio a couple of weeks ago called "Casting By." You familiar with this documentary?
You know what? I was invited to the screening, and we're like, didn't we already cover this?
It's an HBO Films thing. It'll show up on HBO eventually, and we'll talk about it on this show at some point. But it's primarily a profile of Marion Doherty, the legendary casting director in New York, who kind of found De Niro and Hoffman and all of them, like every major New York actor. She was the one who pioneered their careers. Christopher Walken. I mean, you could go right down the line. And she's the one who's responsible for the casting of Butch and Sundance. She's the one that, as an executive at Warner Brothers, put together Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in the Lethal Weapon films. Legendary, right? And Lynn Stallmaster is in it as well, who's sort of her West Coast equivalent. But anyway, they talk about the casting in Deliverance in that, of the banjo kid, right?
Sure.
And that's like this amazing thing because Borman was like, I need an albino. You've got to find an albino. And she's like, no, but I found a kid. I'm pretty sure the kid, is he an albino? No, I need an albino. Like he was stuck on the idea that he needed an albino playing the guitar or the banjo or whatever.
But that kid, you realize that kid did not play the guitar.
I know.
They had a guy under frame.
I know, but still, the casting of that kid was unbelievable. Unfreaking believable.
Yes, that kid was just
it just makes the movie. It makes the movie. It just sets everything in the movie. It's just so incredible. Anyway, welcome to The Punch from executive producer Ridley Scott. Welcome to The Punch stars James McAvoy. Hey, shout out to Alexander Berlika. There's your James McAvoy. James McAvoy, who is now going to be Victor Frankenstein. Don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, this is one of those movies that Ridley Scott throws his name on because he figures, well, why not? It looks like it'll make a bunch. It'll do pretty well, but I wouldn't want to direct it. It's not good enough for me to direct. It's good enough for me to just put my name on, and then I have plausible deniability. Mark Strong is very, very good in this. James McAvoy, not so well cast, to be honest. So here's the deal. It's a crime film. It's a heist film. It's a nasty London crime film. And I don't know that it's much more than a whole lot of style. It's got a great cast. In addition to James McAvoy and Mark Strong, it's got David Morrissey and Peter Mullen. And Peter Mullen is just... Why does Peter Mullen just scare me by his sheer presence?
He's the best.
But why does he just like in Tyrannosaur?
It's the voice.
In Tyrannosaur, he just
ferocious.
I just wanted to crawl under the bed.
He's ferocious.
And here, all he does is just walk on. As soon as there's a close up of him, all I'm thinking is, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. I know you're going to
reach for the TV.
You're going to crawl out of the screen and you're going to yell at me, or you scare me. You're just you're like a hair trigger away from just being an atomic bomb explosion.
And he's great.
He's just so good. Damn it, he's
just so intense and so real. He's just great. He's
just fantastic. I love everything about Peter Mullen. Anyway, you know what? I guess it's worth a rental, but man. It just feels like it doesn't even feel like this movie was really written. It just feels like they threw a lot of style together and got a good cast, and I don't know. It's not a classic British crime film by any stretch. Although I'll tell you what is a movie called Wasteland, which we also talked about on radio last week. Wait till that one comes out on DVD and Blu-ray. We're going to have a good conversation about Wasteland. Oh yes, we will.
Wade, if your horror film can only manage positive blurbs from outlets like Arrow in the Head and Dread Central, that you've got a problem. Which brings us to Under the Bed. Under the Bed is from last year. It's a horror film. It's about a monster living under the bed. And it co-stars this kid from Chasing Mavericks, which nobody saw, the one with Gerard Butler. He accidentally killed his mother, and he's returning home.
You know why monsters look under the bed?
Why?
To see if Chuck Norris is there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Anyway, he has returned home, and the monster is still under the bed. You know, the thing with Under the Bed is that if you had made this in like 1984, and it was directed by like Joe Dante, it'd be fun. But instead, it's got to be just like just trying to be super badass and scary, and it's just not good. Under the Bed, pass.
All right, well, there you go. Got a movie here called From the Head. And it's got a picture of a woman doing a pole dance. In a movie called From the Head with a picture of a woman doing a pole dance, you think, oh my gosh, that's just going to be some kind of filthy movie. Not really. George Griffith stars in the movie. He also wrote and directed it, and it is based on his life, which is a little bit problematic. It takes place in the mid-1990s in New York, and it's all about the guy who is the bathroom attendant at a strip club, and which I assume is what Griffith did.
That's what that movie The Butler's about.
Yes,
Lee Daniels, the guy who was the attendant in the strip club.
He tries to make it as interesting as he can for a low-budget independent film. I mean, it's got its moments. Matthew Lillard shows up, and he's not as embarrassing as he usually is. Matthew Lillard really I've only ever liked in one movie, and that was The Descendants.
Yeah, it's really the only movie.
Really the only movie he's ever just made me want to just pulverize him with a chainsaw. But I mean, this is for probably worth a rental. Not terribly bad. It's about a career choice that I'd never really kind of given any credence to be honest. And then a movie called Warflowers. This is our last new movie of the week before we do a few foreign language things. Christina Ricci and Tom Berenger looking very much like Armin Mueller-Stahl in a very strange, disturbing way. Tom Berenger has gotten kind of swollen.
I know.
And bloated.
It's like Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta's gotten bloated and swollen, too. All those guys from that era.
But Ray Liotta is still Ray Liotta. Tom Berenger is sort of not really Tom Berenger anymore. You know what I mean?
He's gone B-movie.
Yeah, anyway. This is set during the Civil War, and this is from Green Apple. It is... it's an okay movie. I mean, it's clearly cutting a lot of corners with budget, but as far as a fairly original story set during the Civil War, I guess they do a pretty good job. I mean, it's it's not Gone with the Wind, but it has its moments. So. Christina Ricci's always fun to watch. It's just weird to me that these movies that are going straight to video now with these casts that otherwise would have been A-list casts.
Welcome to 2013.
Yeah.
Too many movies, not enough theaters, especially when 3,000 of them are showing Man of Steel.
Oh gosh, tragic. Absolutely tragic. Vanishing Waves is a totally psychotic Lithuanian science fiction movie. I said to the publicist handling this is from Artsploitation Films, that imagine, I guess, kind of like a cross between, I guess if you imagine like an existential cross between Open Your Eyes and THX 1138 and, I don't know, what else? The Lathe of Heaven. That's what this would be. It is called Vanishing Waves, and it is a total trip. It is just a screwy, weird, alternate reality, romance, bizarre trip with all kinds of funky nudity in it. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to even try to pronounce the director's name. Christina something or other, Buzait or some damn thing. Anyway, and I'm not even sure if that Christina is a man or a woman. I don't know, but I will tell you this. If anybody here had any guts and they were going to do a Logan's Run film, this is the director they should hire. Definitely check this out if you love just total science fiction, off-the-wall movies that screw with your mind. Vanishing Waves is definitely one to check out.
Wait, there's an Italian director named Fernando De Leo.
Yeah, did a lot of gun movies.
In fact, 3 of his gun movies are...
this is the second collection of them on Blu-ray, yeah.
This is from the good folks at Raro Video. This is Naked Violence, Kidnap, Syndicate, and Shoot First, Die Later. Kidnap, Syndicate, I think, is the most minor of these. Shoot First, Die Later is not bad. It's funny because there's, in terms of Italian films of that era, there's the giallo stuff, which is the horror stuff, and then there's some pretty interesting crime stuff. And some of the De Leo stuff influenced Tarantino and John Woo. So it's not like no one knows who this guy is. In fact, if you are an unbelievable Tarantino completist, you may want to familiarize yourself with Fernando De Leo as the director. Not as cool as it's not like watching it's not like watching Le Samurai or some really super cool French crime thing. It's not that good. But there's some fun little kitschy, cheesy thrills to be had, especially in Shoot First, Die Later. But if you never heard of him and you're into Italian film, I don't know that I would start with this guy. but still, it is being. And you know what? They put it on Blu-ray, and you got to give them a lot of credit for that.
It's been on DVD before. These films have. They've been on DVD for a while.
But now it's on Blu-ray.
It's finally on Blu-ray.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. It's got some extras in it, which is nice. A documentary, a couple documentaries, and a nice booklet with a critical analysis of DeLeo's career. So you know what? If you love John Woo, love Tarantino, want to see how they became John Woo and Tarantino, you might want to check out Fernando DeLeo, Volume 2 or Volume 1.
All right, we got 3 terrific foreign language films to end up with. The first is the first of an intended trilogy of films, the Paradise Trilogy, by director Ulrich Seidel, and this was in competition at Cannes. It's called Paradise Love, the first installment of the Paradise Trilogy. And Paradise Love is a really sweet film. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the other 2 films play out in this. It's about a 50-year-old woman who becomes a sex tourist in Kenya, and I will leave it there. I fill in the blanks. Go and figure out where that goes. That's Ulrich Seidel. If you're familiar with his movies, it should be no surprise whatsoever that that's how he would start a trilogy. A Night Across the Street is the last film made by Raul Ruiz, who our colleague Bob Kohler would probably want to decapitate me for saying this, but Raul Ruiz movies just bore the crap out of me. They usually do. There's a few, like Remembrance of Times Past or whatever, the Proust thing that he did. That had some moments, but my gosh, he's made some boring movies, just some excruciating stuff. This is no different. This thing is just painful to watch, but a lot of people love it. I mean, love it. So I'm going to back off. I'm going to say if you're a Raul Ruiz fan, if you can handle all of his just excessive, indulgent, stylistic, meditative, metaphysical BS, this will be deeply meaningful to you. Cinema Guild released this, and far be it from me to tell Raul Ruiz fans that they should not watch one of his final film. And then lastly, the must-have movie of the week, The Earrings of Madame De, which is the brilliant Max Ophuls film, finally on Blu-ray from Criterion. This is just such a gorgeous movie. This may be the most beautiful movie in terms of camera work ever made. Max Ophuls was a genius of moving the camera, and it's like a ballet the way the camera moves here. And it's not unmotivated. He just has the most elegant way of choreographing camera work. It is superb. The story itself is a wonderful kind of period 18th century aristocratic kind of soap opera. Frankly, stars Daniel Darrieux and Charles Boyer, and it's wonderful. It's almost like a French version of a Dickens thing. It's great, really a great film. 1953, fantastic transfer here, and a lot of great extras. An introduction from Paul Thomas Anderson of all people, who really loves the film, and then you get some interviews with some of Ophuls' collaborators, an interview with writer Louise de Villemorin about Ophuls' adaptation of the novel that she wrote, and an audio commentary with film scholars Susan White and Galen Studler. So this is just fantastic. Taken from a 2K restoration. I know we've talked before about we prefer everything to be 4K, but for the purposes of the Blu-ray, absolutely spot on. So The Earrings of Madame De from Criterion, the brilliant Max Ophuls film, that is the pick of the week. You got to check it out. And Mark, are we getting any closer to kind of deciding on an outro? Last week I said cut and print. You didn't like that.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it. It's that I feel like we should pick something that was given to us by one of our listeners.
Well, I mean, I'm reaching. I'm reaching for anything.
How
have
about
one?
this? Makoto Tsukishima. He's got one.
Okay, what is it?
Thanks for listening, and until next time, remember, 13 times 7 is 28.